Yeah, there's no way this bike's going to make this hill. Okay, clearly I was mistaken. Good job, little bike. Let's talk about this Gotrax NEPHELE, if that's how you say it, 16-inch folding e-bike. I've never had a folding bike before. In fact, I've never had any bike that I had to assemble before. This one came in a huge box, and I put it together. The bike came nicely packaged. I think I spent about as much time removing the package and cutting zip ties away from it as I did actually assembling it. I've never put together a bicycle before, other than maybe attaching a handlebar and putting on some pedals, so this was a new experience for me. The instructions were very thorough, and all needed tools were included. That was good. About the only thing that confused me was when it came time to put the front tire on, there's a kind of a shaft that goes through it, and there was already a piece attached to the front fork, which was there for shipping, and it didn't mention that, so I was a little confused how I was supposed to put something in a place that already had something. If you've ever done a bike before, you probably know that. It was new to me. Almost everything where you had to do something detailed had a close-up diagram in the manual. It was one of the better manuals I've seen in a long time. So many of them are such poorly translated messes, it's hard to figure out what they mean, but I didn't have any problem with this bike. The only thing I found a little odd about the instructions were in the middle of putting things together, it had a little section where it told you how to collapse the frame, which probably could have been saved for after the bike was assembled. Everything went really well. I was very proud of myself that I did it, and it didn't take me hours to do it. One thing the manual didn't specify was the tire inflation. It just says, look at the tires. The tires that came on mine handle a max of 40 psi, so I was able to go get my little air compressor and top off the tires to where they needed to be. There's a little charger included. It's very small, surprisingly, for such a large bike. The other electric items I have, even my scooter has a larger power supply from that. Once it's assembled, of course, you need to fully charge the battery. The manual says it takes about 5.5 hours. I didn't time it, I just plugged it up and kept an eye on it until the light turned green, and I was getting it ready to take out for a test drive the next morning. Overall, I think anyone that knows how to use an Allen wrench and a bolt tightener could put this thing together and get it going within the hour quite easily. I actually had fun putting it together. When the bike is folded up, as you see here, it will fit in the back of a car quite easily. Should also fit in any trunk. Unfolding the bike is a real simple process. This is probably the first or second time I did it, so you'll see I struggle a little bit, but basically you unfold the frame, then you move a pin in place and clamp it down so it locks the frame. Then there's a handlebar that the stem kind of folds up. There's a similar quick release pin that you flip over and then lock into place. Then you'd make any adjustments to the handlebar height and the seat height that you need. And the pedals can be folded down when you put it in a trunk, so those have to be folded back out. So basically, just 3 little steps. Let's just do a quick tour of the bike. Of course, it has the things you expect, like a handlebar. Comes with a bell. Over here is the ignition key and the throttle, and then left and right brakes. It has disc brakes on the front and the back. There are also mud flaps on the front and the back, and a built-in cargo rack. It even has the water bottle cage connection points. There's a built-in headlight and a built-in tail light. Plus it folds down and you can throw it in the back of a car. This is the battery. It says it's a 280.8 watt-hour battery, 7.8 amp hours, 36 volts. The battery has a handle on top, which folds down when you put it back on the bike. There is a key lock. In the unlock position, you can take it on and off the bike. When you put it on the bike and switch it to off, it locks it in place, and you switch it to on, and the battery starts putting out power. And then over here is the charging port. On the other side of the battery is the cable connector, which will plug up to the bike. The battery is designed so there's only one way to insert it. There's an indentation on the front side which matches the seat post, and on the other side is a little grooved slot which matches the groove channel thing here on the back of the bike frame. So if you line it up, all you have to do is figure out where the groove is, see here, and drop it down. The battery is now in place. The lock is in the unlock position. You're going to see a little metal post there. As I plug in the key, switch it to off, you'll see that it engages. And now the battery cannot be removed. And if you want to enable battery power, you flip it over to on. The power cable from the bike just plugs into this connector here. Flip the handle down, and now you're ready just to turn the battery on and turn on your bike and go. The seat post is easily adjustable with a quick release. First, we're going to put the seat back in a riding position. When this is opened up, you can raise the seat. Once you find your seat position, there are markers on the back, so you can put it in the position that you want and then just lock it in place. Makes it very easy to set it up after you've taken it out of a car. The handlebar has a similar measurement on it, and there's a quick release. You can adjust the handlebar up and down. You could also lower it all the way down to make more room when you're folding it down to take it somewhere. The foot pedals will push in and then fold down so they can flatten on both sides for when you put it in the back of a car. There is a built-in kickstand. To fold the bike up, there's a little quick release. You swing it out of the way, and then to disengage it, you have to lift up on it, and it releases a pin at the bottom, and then it will fold over. We don't want to do that right now. Let's lock it back into place. Just like how the bike folds in half, there's another quick release that you swing over and push down, and then the handlebar will fold over, and that collapses the bike down into a really small area that will fit easily in the back of a car. Let's see if we can start it up. First thing we need to do is turn on the battery. That requires a key. You put it in and switch it from off until on, and now the battery is powered up. The key is captive, so if you want to make sure you disable your bike, make sure you have your key with you. Once the battery is powered up, there's another key that goes from off to on to lights. So I'll put the key in, switch it on, and the display powers up, showing us the battery level. If you switch it from on to lights, the headlights come on. There is a front light which is surprisingly bright. There is a built-in tail light. Now on the camera it looks like it's flickering. I don't actually see that. That's just something with the frame rate of the camera. But when you squeeze the brake, then it really flashes. So it's a brake light that's always on. When you go to brake, it starts blinking. One thing you'll notice is there is no shifter. This is a single-speed electric bike. Great for small commutes, but it's probably not something you want to take on a bike rally. Now that I have it all powered up, I'm going to take it for a quick ride and let's see how it feels. I know everyone always reads the manual, but here's something that's very important. This is an active throttle. It's not doing anything right now, but if you tap the brake to wake it up, it will start. Oh, there we go. It just goes. And boy, does it jump. So make sure you know about that. Don't be leaning on it. If you're holding the bike at like a crosswalk or something and you twist the handle and it's not disabled like that, the bike's just going to take off and go. Wow, this is actually, it feels a lot faster than I was expecting it to be for a single speed bike. There's no speedometer or odometer or anything like that. And unlike a lot of the higher end electric bikes that I've tried before, you can actually run this one fully on electric. You don't have to pedal. So it's not pedal assist, it's actually an electric bike that you can pedal. And that's pretty good. Boy, this is too cold of a day to be riding the bike, but we're gonna take it around the block here. Okay, some initial thoughts taking it around the block. I've got a couple of fairly steep hills in this neighborhood. In fact, I've got a little Gotrax scooter that can just barely get up one of them. I've got a much heavier, more powerful scooter that doesn't have a problem. This bike had no problem. It was actually accelerating up the small hills, and once it got to the big one, it started slowing down a little bit. It never stopped. During that time when the motor is doing the most work, I saw the battery gauge drop to 2 bars. Once it got up to the top and things leveled out, it just kept on going. Actually really impressed. This is, I think, a 350 watt motor, and I've got a Venton Pace 500 with a 500 watt. And, you know, that bike doesn't care about any hills. I was actually expecting this smaller motor to maybe have a problem with some of the hills in this neighborhood, but it seemed to do just fine. I am sure if the hill was much steeper, it might find it difficult. So I have a much steeper hill. We're going to go take it over there now. Yeah, there's no way this bike's going to make this hill. Okay, clearly I was mistaken. Good job, little bike. I thought I was going to have to pedal there for a moment. Okay, I know it's hard to really say too much about something the first week that you've had it. So here's some comments after I've taken it on some rides and mounted my camera to it to record more video. First, I am 5'10", so I found that I like my seat post basically around a number 2. It'll go a little bit higher than that. I also have the handlebars set to about, let's see, what is it set to? Set to 1. I put it all the way up. I kind of like my handlebars in front of me. I've taken it through some dirt to see what the mud flaps do. The bike's a little dirtier now than it was when I first got it and did the first videos. But wow, I'm very impressed. I took it up some big hills. I took it through some very rough sidewalks in this neighborhood to kind of see if the shocks did a good job, and actually they do quite a good job. The only thing I think I need to do is I need to adjust the front brakes. They're rubbing just a little bit and probably not gripping like they should, and that is probably my fault for not knowing what I was doing when I was assembling it. But they do give a bag of tools, so I've got everything I need to make adjustments on the bike. After charging it a couple of times, it still seems to be doing well. I've been riding it today. This is January in Iowa. We have sub-freezing temperatures. There was actually snow today, and it seems to do well. I know the batteries don't do as good when it's this cold, but very impressed. It is an interesting alternative to taking a scooter. My lightweight scooter I can pick up and throw in the back of the car very, very easily. My full-size bike, I don't take anywhere unless I put it on the bike rack. So it just, it just stays in storage during the winter. But this is kind of appealing because it will go faster and further than my little scooter. And it's heavier, but it's very easy to fold down. I could start taking this to work and using it to run to lunch on days when it's not snowing. So I am actually way more impressed with this than I thought I was going to be at the price that it is. I did not expect much. I thought it would just be a cheap little micro bike I could stick in the back of my car. So I'm going to keep riding it and probably update this review when springtime rolls around and I've had more exposure to it. Again, it's really hard to say much when it's just the first week with a product, but it gets a heck of a lot easier to fold down and set back up after you've done it a few times. The first video I did was, I think, the first or second time I'd ever even tried it, and it's easy to figure out, but well done, Gotrax. This is amazing for the money, and there's a lot of handlebar space. So yeah, I like it. I'm very surprised I like it as much as I do. Oh, there's my thoughts. I like it. I'm surprised. I like it a lot.